Parents, if you're trying to get your kids more interested in money, investing, trying to teach them the basics of life, well, Fidelity has just created a new type of investment account. And this is a way for your teenagers as early as 13. That's right, you can have your teenagers start to learn to invest. As we go through this video, I'll be sharing with you what you need to know as a parent or guardian before you allow your teenager to invest using one of these accounts. We will also discuss the pros and cons of using this investment vehicle. This is different from an UTMA account, which stands for UTMA. It sounds like a derogatory term, but it really stands for Universal Transfers to Minors Act. So what the parents need to know who are thinking of doing this is that because this is different from an UTMA account, in an UTMA account, the parents would gift money to their children and use that account to invest money for them. That's an UTMA account. With this, it's similar but different. The gift takes place just as normal, so the parents would gift the money to the children, but the difference is that it's not the parent or guardian who has the control to that money once it's gifted. It's really up to the youth. It's up to the teenager to make their own investment decisions and how they want to invest that money. Although, let's get real here, I highly doubt a parent is just going to give a teenager hundreds or even thousands of dollars and simply walk away and ignore how they're investing that money. And for the parents out there, they need to figure out how much they want to gift their children to this type of account. Fidelity recommends no more than $30,000. Well, the reason for that number is because each parent individually can gift $15,000 to their child to this type of account without having to file a gift tax return. As long as the parents don't go over that amount individually, $15,000, then they won't have to file a gift tax return and it will not eat into their lifetime exclusion in terms of gift and death taxes. And as a person who loves investing, you can imagine how extremely jealous I am that this thing wasn't around when I was 13. There actually is no cap of how much you can gift to your children into this type of account, but I would caution any parent out there who is thinking of gifting their 13-year-old $1 million to really think that through to see if a teenager could actually handle that amount of money. Unless they're Ryan's Toy Review, well, that kid's just freaking rich. For parents out there who are wanting to get their teens involved in something like this and helping them get a good start, there's really a few things they should know about these accounts. So the teen cannot purchase securities other than those described above. So no third-party mutual funds, corporate bonds, municipal fixed income securities, certificates of deposit, and treasuries cannot be purchased. Also, there are certain types of NMS securities that can't be traded or held in a youth account. So there's certain limitations here. These include shares of real estate investment trusts, convertibles, and leverage and inverse exchange traded funds. There are also certain trading features that are unavailable, including options and margin trading. You don't have to worry about your teenager borrowing margin debt and driving themselves into debt, or driving you crazy for that matter, or trading options. So after hours trading is prohibited. Other exclusions include affiliate insurance products, short selling, can't sell short, penny stocks, international stocks, foreign currencies, participating in a company's initial public offering, so they can't dive into these new, hot, exciting IPOs, and certain other securities that present unique risk or complexities that make them unsuitable for inexperienced investors. So when I'm looking at this as a person who's been investing for years now, there a lot of what they're showing here, what I'm getting from this is that they don't want your teenager making very speculative investment plays, is what I'm getting from this. Now, you might already be wondering, well, my kid can barely tie his shoe at 13. How do I get them to invest or learn how to invest? Well, what type of role will I be playing as a guardian? So if you're a parent or guardian, then it's really up to you to monitor their account and make sure they're making wise moves. You want to guide them. You want to help them along the way. But you will get notified whenever they purchase securities. You'll get copies of trade confirmations, you'll get copies of statements. You can even set up alerts on the account so that if the cash balance gets to a certain point, or if a certain type of transaction takes place, you'll get an alert via email or on your phone or something like that, essentially where you can see what they're doing to tell them to maybe take a different approach. If you are worried that your teenager is not ready to handle this type of responsibility and you're afraid of the choices they make, as a parent or guardian, please know that you can close their account and take away the debit card Fidelity will give them at any time. You don't have to worry about that. Even though they have control of how they invest their money, you can threaten the close that account anytime, kind of like how you threaten to take away their cell phone. You can do it. Now, there is one very important caveat with this kind of account that you should know of as a parent or guardian, and that's really to know that you must have a brokerage account or some type of investment account with Fidelity already established. So if you don't have one, you're going to have to get one. And in order for your teens to open up this youth account, that is very important. There's no other way around that. However, after doing some digging, some research, I did find that you can later on close your account if you don't want to use it, and they will allow your teenager's account to stay open and they can still utilize it to learn to invest. Now, you might be asking, okay, so what happens to that account once they turn 18? So once they turn 18, that account will transition over into a normal taxable brokerage account that your teenager or young adult will then own at that given point. And before opening an account like this, really you got to take a careful consideration of tax consequences, because there is going to be tax consequences if there are earnings through interest, dividends, if there's a lot of stock sales, because these kind of accounts and a lot of teenagers do like active trading, so there's possibility that they would have a potential income tax filing requirement if there's a lot of activity going on within their account. So you got to look at that. So this account might cause your teenager to have to file a tax return once that income or those earnings reach a certain level. So think about how you want to guide them to invest, because one way might not generate any filing requirement, a tax liability, and another way might. But it just depends on what your overall goals are. I'm not saying to invest one way versus the other, but how you invest and the way you approach investing will affect your taxes. Okay, just a few pros and cons that I want to mention that I see as a CPA looking on from the outside in. So the first thing as a pro is the fact that they can start investing at 13. What a tremendous advantage that is. It's such a huge advantage, because for me, it's not so much about the dollar amount that's growing in their account. I realize like most parents can't give their kids a ton of money unless they're very rich, but even if you were to give them $1,000 a year or $2,000 a year, it's not about the dollar figure. It's about getting them involved in investing. From what I've seen as a CPA, most people don't really get involved into learning investing whatsoever, if they ever do, until their mid-20s, late 30s. And by that time, they've missed one of the largest compounding growth opportunities of their entire life, unfortunately, by the time they're 30 years old. And it's doable, but it's a much easier if they can learn to invest early on, make mistakes early on. Let them know it's okay to make mistakes. That's the fact. That's the point of them getting involved in this account, is learning to invest and learning investment strategies, learning to build a portfolio, what works, what doesn't work. That's number one. The second thing I like is that the fact that they actually might have to pay taxes. Kids, teenagers, what a tremendous advantage to learn taxes early on. I know I didn't know taxes early on. I didn't know taxes until I was about 17 or 18 years old. So the earlier they learn how taxes work, the better they're going to understand the world. Now, I see a lot of positives here, really, with this youth investing account. But one thing that I would really caution parents or guardians on with this is that they're just kids. Even at 18, they're just kids. Yeah, they're legally a young adult in most states, but let's get real. If there's a teenager or an 18-year-old with $100,000 in their account, and that at 18 that account becomes fully theirs and you could no longer really have control of it, are they going to be able to manage and handle that money? So there's that. So you got to really factor that in. That's probably the biggest factor at play here, in my opinion, in terms of the cons. But you can really, this is your opportunity to really guide them, really help them learn how money works, learn how to invest and grow a portfolio and be responsible with money, and show them. I mean, with my compounding interest calculator, or my dividend reinvestment calculator here, you can see that if you consistently invest and over a long time horizon, even given just average return on your investment, the money can grow into something really substantial. And if you show your teenager that, your son or daughter, they would really, I think, will really help mature them and motivate them to not blow the money, but to grow an asset so that they can become financially free earlier than all of their peers. A quick story I want to share with you guys is I have a friend, and he's probably the most financially successful friend I have. He's financially free through real estate. But when he was young, his father ran a restaurant, and he came to his father one day and he said, "Dad, there's this car I want to buy. I've saved up for it." And he worked at the restaurant with his dad. And he showed his dad the car. and it was a really nice sports car. And his dad said, you know what? Well, I see you have enough money to get this car. And he said, that's fine. But he's like, I tell you what if instead of you buying the car with your money, what if I show you how to invest that money and so you could buy that car again and again and again? And this changed his mindset on money for the rest of his life. And since then, he's become a multimillionaire. But that was a lesson he learned, and that really, struck a chord with me, and so I wanted to share that story with you. So there's many ways to guide your children, but if you can teach them the value of the money and what it can do, and to be able to purchase not just one car or not just one video game, but a video game for the rest of your life with the asset you build, it can completely change the way they view money and how to utilize it to best build the life they want to live. There is one other con with this account that I did fail to mention, and I'm not sure really how important this is to some of you out there, but with this account, this youth investment account, it is considered an asset. If you're a teenager, if they're wanting to apply for college, if they want to apply for financial aid, this asset could potentially, not saying it will, could potentially affect how much financial aid they receive. If it's a very, very small amount, it's probably not going to really hurt them. But, if you're giving your kids $15,000, $30,000 per year for several years in a row, well, this could be a substantial asset and could restrict their ability to get that financial aid. Okay, so in the video description in the comment section, I'll leave a link to the frequently asked question page of Fidelity's website where you can learn everything there is to know about these accounts, because there's a lot of things I didn't cover here simply because I don't think they're materially important in a general sense. But let me know what you think of these accounts in the comment section below. Do you like the idea of a youth investment account? Why or why not? And from here, you guys know what to do. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel, and have a wonderful week. I'll see you in the comments, guys. Take care. Peace.